Our playoff coverage continues here at the studios. Hi atop Pelham High School here. Justin Foster, Jake Garner, Brenna Vickery, K.O. Kyle O'Neill with you. It is now week 3 of playoff action. We got 13 games we're going to run you through. I'll give you some picks here, give you a little bit of analysis. We'll start with 3 here, jump right in. 3 kind of quick picks here for our panel. All of these are kind of tough, so it's going to be interesting to see what everybody picks here. We start in 5A, number 2 Central Clay County, at number 1 Montgomery Catholic. Catholic, the defending state champs. Both teams undefeated in this one, and Catholic 5-1 in quarterfinals. KO, can they keep the undefeated streak alive, Montgomery Catholic, or do you think Central can knock them off?
I think Catholic, they're number 1, and they're number 1 for a reason. They have a very stout defense, 34 sacks on the year, and Joe Pierce has 8 interceptions. Their offense also really good, averaging 48. I'm going to go with Catholic on this one.
We're going to go with the kicker expertise over here. Jake, who you got in this matchup?
Catholic lost quarterback Caleb McCreary last year to Troy. They've been able to replace him really well on offense. Me and Kyle were listening to our guy Hall Tech Sports when we were driving home last week. They were talking about how Catholic, how dominant Catholic was, so we're going to go with Catholic.
Brenna, what you think?
Yeah, I went with Catholic as well. You mentioned that defense. They've held 6 teams this year to 0 points, and they have 3 consecutive shutouts. I think that continues this week. I think they get a big win at home.
The prayers are answered for Montgomery Catholic. They win this one in advance. We go to another 5A matchup. Number 7 corner at number 9 Leeds. Leeds, you know, again, when we played them later in the season, you kind of felt like there's some weaknesses on this team, that they're, you know, a little top-heavy, but they've kind of steamrolled through the playoffs. Number 7 corner heads to their facility. Jake, we'll start with you. Leeds this all-time series 27-3. First-time corner has been in a quarterfinal. Can they continue it going, or we got Leeds winning this one?
Yeah, there ain't no way corners winning this game. Leeds, I was texting with one of their offensive linemen earlier this week. He was in a good mood, so I'm going to have to go with Gavin Bowling and Leeds.
Brenna, what you think?
Yeah, I think Leeds is definitely playing their best ball game right now. I went with Leeds as well.
Okay,
I'm going to go the other way on this one. Corners running back Spencer Unruh. Last week he had 42 carries for 350 yards and 5 touchdowns. Their offense peaking at the right time. Both of their high-scoring games have come in the playoffs, so I think they pull off the upset maybe at Leeds. I don't know if it's an upset or not.
Number 7, number 9. I really don't know. I think this is kind of a toss-up. I like Leeds in this one as well. I think home field plays a role in pulling this one off. They're playing great. Hey, corner's there, and it's kind of a toss-up. You never know, but give me Leeds in that one. This is an intriguing game to me. Ramsey at number 5, Moody. Ramsey, really slow start to the season, but they really had a tough schedule. KO, can they keep the hot streak going and knock off number 5, Moody, on the road?
I don't think they can. They've definitely been on a hot streak, but they're going into a Moody team that is really good on both sides of the ball. That defense has allowed 7 points in both weeks of the playoffs combined, so I'm going to go with Moody on this one.
Brenna, what you think?
I went Ramsey. I think that their offense has been really dominant, and and Moody has a 0-2 record at home in the quarterfinals, so I don't know that the home field advantage will help them out very much.
What do you think, Jake?
I watched Ramsey last year in the 5A state championship, so they have state championship DNA. But I think Moody, led by Charlie Johnston at quarterback, Georgia Southern commit, I think Moody, Brock Willis, Alabama commit, I think Moody pulls it out.
The Ramsey defense has been absolutely spectacular. The amount of shutouts they've had in the second half of the season. Now, the schedule's softened up, so, you know, they've kind of flexed that muscle, shown what kind of team they really are. I like Ramsey in this one. I think the pedigree of the program, battle-tested, I like them to advance. Shout out to Seth Hagan, their play-by-play guy for the second time. Maybe it's because I see their highlights and him calling them that I think they're better than they are, but give me Ramsey in that one. We move into a little more in-depth conversation. Enterprise at number 5, Thompson in 7A. First semi-appearance for Enterprise since 1993. Thompson, this is old hat to them. They're back in a familiar place. Can Enterprise upset Thompson KO?
Yeah, I don't think they have a chance, especially going on the road. When they've played the 3 best teams out of their own region, Auburn, Central, and Opelika, they've been outscored by 61 points. And you want to talk about peaking at the right time. Thompson, they just beat Auburn, the number 1 team, 34-21. That offense looking really good. Running back Michael Dujon, 15 touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards on the season. I think Thompson makes it to the state championship.
Jake, can we see an upset? Enterprise picked up the win last week. Can pick up another one
They,
against Thompson.
drop you off at Thompson and
And they drop off Thompson's season,
pick you
and
back up.
I'm trying here.
You know, Enterprise led by a junior quarterback. This is his first year starting. They have a Charles Henderson. Charles Henderson's in Troy. They have a five-star DN transfer in from Charles Henderson. He's going to Ohio State. They have Eric Winters, a talented four-star athlete, who's going to Auburn. I don't know. I'm riding with the athletes. And I'm gonna go with Enterprise.
Wow. Brennan, what you think?
I did not pick Thompson to win last week, so shout out Kendall Smith, who told me I think at least 50 times that Thompson was going to win last week, which they did. Big win against Auburn last week, and when you look at Enterprise matchup with Auburn, they lost 53-22. I think that Thompson, they had a great game last week. I think that continues this week, and they get a win at home.
Thompson knows what to do this time of the year. I think Thompson wins this one semi-comfortably. I do think, as KO said, they're kind of peaking at the right time.
Yeah.
Number 2, Hoover heads down to Central Phoenix City. Central, of course, defending state champion. They have been there time and time again. Hoover 7-3 on the road in the semis. They lead the all-time series 3-0. This is two teams with a whole lot of pedigree who expect to be here and expect to win this game. Jake, we'll start with you. Can Hoover go on the road, continue the strong season, and knock off the defending state champs?
My guys from Vestavia, they got the brake speed off of them last week. They got absolutely ran over.
They can get ready for Rush now.
They can, all the podcasts and the Fijis. I was texting one of my friends, and the kicker from Vestavia, and he said Central's legit. He told me that they were very good, and they were better than he thought they were going to be. So, with that being said, my guy, Sub-Zero Trey Darden, still over there at Hoover, still locking up on the outside. Him and his partner in crime, J.J. Moultrie. If Mac Beeson can control his turnover problems, which he has struggled with a lot, he has 14 interceptions on the year, throwing an interception against Opelika. If he can control his interception problems, I don't see how Hoover loses.
Ken, we'll come over to you. What you think?
Yeah, Hoover's offense, like you said, they have looked unimpressive in some of their games against bigger teams. In Central, they've definitely been on a roll. They've had 111 points their last two games. I'm going to go with Central to get the win in this one. They are the defending state championship. I think they make it back. I actually think they have a rematch with Thompson. I think that can be a very interesting game, but I'm going to go with Central, especially playing at home in this one.
Brenda, what you think?
We watched, I think, what might have been the most exciting playoff game yet so far last week. Hoover and Opelika went to triple overtime, and that Hoover defense just looked amazing. They had an interception late in overtime to win the game. I think that the Central Phoenix City offense looks pretty one-dimensional. Tristan Williams, running back, is averaging 105 yards per game, and he's leading their offense by far. But I do think that that Hoover defense will be able to limit that. I do have Hoover going on the road and getting a win.
You know, this is a really interesting game. I do think either of these teams can win, but I am going to go with Central Phoenix City for this reason. Hoover at number 2, they've gotten really lucky in close games this year. I think very easily they could be in a situation where they have, 4 losses. I think the only close game that's really not gone their way was the Spain Park game. So Central Phoenix City, according to their broadcast teacher Tim Lorman's Facebook, they're peaking at the right time. This is a guy that watches them all the time. Apparently injuries have plagued them throughout the year. They're finally healthy. And again, they're used to being here. Familiarity wins out. Hoover has been there, but again, I think everything catches up to them. I do think Central takes this one. Fort Payne, surprise winner over my Homewood Patriots.
Goodness.
They're going to get hot. I wanted to say last week, I wanted to pick the upset, just a gut reaction, and just couldn't bring myself to do it. But Fort Payne, they get that big win. They head to number 3, Oxford. Can they keep a magical season going and knock off number 3, KO?
I don't think they can. That Oxford offenses look pretty unstoppable. You got Mason Mims. He's up to 3,000 yards. They have a 1,000-yard rusher. They have a 1,000-yard receiver. Their offense is just very spread out, and their defense hasn't given up 14 points in a game since September. I think it's hard to pick against Oxford in a situation like this.
Brenda, can they bring the pain to Oxford?
No, I don't think so at all. I think Oxford is definitely a different level of competition than they've seen all season, and that Oxford defense has held 7 teams to 10 and under this season. I think that continues today. I really, last week was a big upset, Fort Payne over Homewood, but I do not think that will continue this week at all.
Any chance they can hold down the fort at Oxford, Jake?
No way. I was talking to one of my friends from Homewood. He said that they didn't have their starting quarterback, they didn't have their starting wide receiver, so that was their big reason for why they lost. I don't really care though. I still think Mason Mims is unstoppable at Oxford. He's completing passes to his little brother, so that's kind of a cool thing to see. So Oxford.
Yeah, quite simply, Oxford. I like Oxford pick here. Muscle Shoals at number 2, Parker. I had Muscle Shoals out a couple weeks ago. They have continued to just make things happen. They beat Clay Chalkville last week, and in 2 all-time games, they have outscored Parker 62-6. This year ain't that year, Brenna. Can they keep up that strong streak and knock off number 2?
No, I don't think so. The Parker defense has been very consistent in the last 3 weeks. They held Mountain Brook to 7 points last week, and they beat Coleman and Woodlawn complete shutouts in the 2 weeks before that. Parker also beat Hoover 14-10, and they have Terrence Gaines, a running back, leading their offense with 88 rushing yards per game. I had Muscle Shoals out last week. I don't really know how they pulled that off against Clay, but they have a pretty weak schedule, and so I do not think that they'll be able to get another win on the road this week.
Jake, what you think?
They had a wild fumble return for a touchdown last week. They ended up winning the game. I thought Aaron Fry was down, but that's personally me. So, me and Kyle were on the way to Parker Mountain Brook last week. They were whipping Mountain Brook on the way to that game. Mountain Brook was wearing their Guardian caps, I don't know about that one. So Parker, they had Dylan Reese back last week. Their offense looked really good. They looked back to Parker's offense, so I think Parker wins this by a landslide.
Cato, can you go against the trend? Muscle Shoals got a chance here?
Yeah, I wanted to pick Muscle Shoals last week. They ended up winning, and I didn't pick them, but I'm going to pick against them again. Parker, their defenses look really good. They've got 42 sacks on the year. They're only giving up 6 points per game against teams from the state of Alabama, so I'm going to go with them to win this game.
This one's not even close. Parker takes this one significantly easy, and I think they advance to our next one. Since we will not have a show next week, we are going to advance a week and look ahead to the future. Winner of Oxford, which I think we're unanimous, it'll be Oxford and Parker. Kale, we'll start with you. Who advances here to play for a state championship, Oxford or Parker?
Yeah, I'm going with Parker in this one. They actually lost to Clay in the semis last year. It's going to be the best defense that Oxford's faced all year. All 3 of us have stressed how good that Parker defense has been all year. The Oxford offense obviously really good, but they haven't faced anyone near the caliber of Parker. Their defenses looked the Oxford defenses looked a little vulnerable. They allowed 255 rushing yards to Mountain Brook, and Parker has a really good running game, so I'm going to go with Parker to win this one.
Brenna?
I think it would be a really great game. I do expect that we will see this matchup, but to me, I think Oxford is a more well-rounded team, so I would go with Oxford to get the win there.
Jake, what you think?
We have Oxford, we have Parker, two very lofty programs. We have Parker is looking for retribution from last year after their loss to Clay Chalkville, where they got beat by a quarterback that hadn't played all year. After Jalen and Buck went down, you have Oxford, who's riding a high note right now, where they're undefeated. They beat everybody by a lot. So with that being said, I think Parker and the athletes they have, I just don't know how you can go against that.
I like Parker in this one. I think defense wins championships. Oxford offense definitely has the advantage, but when it comes down to it, you can slow that offense down. I think Parker has enough on offense, really good defense to punch their ticket to Birmingham. We move on. Hueytown at Pike Road. Pike Road all over St. Paul's last week, 44-6. Man, what does it say after what St. Paul's did to Helena? Hueytown takes down Spanish Fort. 2 games that kind of raise your eyebrows. Not that Pike Road beating St. Paul's is that surprising, but the nature that they did. Pike Road getting to host this game. KO, Hueytown, Pike Road, who you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Pike Road in this one. That was a very impressive win last week against St. Paul's. They have a really good offense, averaging 44 points per game. And the Hueytown offense, they just haven't looked as explosive in some of their games against better teams. I don't think they'll be able to keep up with Pike Road, and I'm going to go with them in this one.
Jake?
I went against Harry Little last week, J-Bone stepdad. I can't do it again Hueytown.
Brenna?
I think I was the only one out of all 4 of us to pick Hueytown to get the win over Spanish Fort last week, which they did. They beat them 21-14. Pike Road and Hueytown have identical records, but I don't think that I will go with Hueytown again. They have some surprising losses. They lost 48-14 to Hillcrest. And Pike Road, obviously, great offense, like you mentioned. They have junior running back Mike Jones leading their offense, averaging 100. Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike Jones.
Mike.
Okay.
Why? Do you know him?
Y'all are too young to know the reference. Anybody with aching backs knows what I'm talking about. We'll talk about it after the show.
Anyways, like I was saying, Mike Jones is absolutely leading their offense. He's averaging 107 rushing yards per game, and he has 16 touchdowns on the season. So while I did pick that upset last week with Hueytown, I do not think that they go on the road and they beat Pike Road.
The number is 281-330-8004. Hit Mike Jones up on the low because Mike Jones is about to blow. Pike Road wins this game. We move on. Spain Park, number 4, number 1, Saraland. I will tell you, this one might be tuning into this one. This is going to be quite the matchup. Brendan, we'll start with you. Can Spain Park continue an undefeated season, take down number 1 on the road?
No, I mean, obviously Spain Park has had a great season, but Saraland is definitely the best competition that they've faced so far. I think that this Saraland will take care of this, not necessarily extremely easily, but decently comfortably. They get the win at home.
Jake?
Yeah, Saraland wins by 21. There's
Okay.
no way that Spain Park's even in this game. Spain Park's defense will be getting Swiss cheese the whole night. It won't even be close. There's holes all in that defense. It is KJ Lacey. He had 10,000 passing yards last week. He'll be at 10,500 by the end of this week.
KO?
Yeah, that's a great point. The Spain Park defenses look very bad in the playoffs. They've given up, I think, 75 in 2 games. While both of the offenses are averaging around 40 points per game, Saraland, their defense is up there where it should be as the number 1 team, and Spain Park's is not. So I'm going to go with Saraland big in this one.
I like Saraland in this one. I do think the perfect season comes to an end. However, it would not surprise me one way or another if Spain Park is able to pull it. I do think this is a very close game. I think Spain Park does show up, and I think it should be interesting. But again, seeing what happened to Helena, not sure about the region and the strength of it overall. So Spain Park, I'm sorry, I have to go with Saraland. Finally, winner of the Pike Road game, winner of the Saraland game. So Saraland Pike Road for a trip to punch a ticket. KO, real quick with this one, we're running out of time.
Yeah, I'm going with Saraland. They beat Pike Road 46-7 in the semis last year. I think they can do it again.
Brenna?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think this matchup could arguably be less competition than they'll see this week. I think Saraland gets that win easily.
Jake, what you think?
Wow. We have Hueytown, Saraland next week. Even without Hollywood, I think they look better this year than they did last year because they're not so offensively reliant on him. They have Dylan Alfred. They have multiple receivers that they can spread it around to. So I think Saraland wins that comfortably.
I like Saraland as well. I think if Spain Park gets through, I like Spain Park to win it, but I do think Saraland advances. That will do it for us here. We're out of time. Enjoy all of the games. Enjoy Thanksgiving. We will be back with you to preview all of our state championship games the following week, so look out for that one. You guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving.